Okay, we are streaming.
Great, thanks.
Hello, Member Baumgartner. If you'd go ahead and check your audio and visual, please.
Hello.
Perfect. Thank you. And Member Puentes, if you would go ahead and check your audio and visual for us, please. Member Puentes, if you would go ahead and just test your audio for us and your visual if possible.
Yes. Hi.
Oh, great, thank you.
I just needed, I have, my camera's not, it's not hooking up. It'll just take me a second.
Oh, no worries.
Thank you.
Member Sayers, if you would go ahead and test your audio and visual for us, please. Member Sayers, if you would go ahead and, oh, there we go. If you can just test that for us.
Yeah, I'm good.
Wonderful. Chair Kiefer, you do have a quorum at this point.
Great, thanks, Eileen. All right, with the intent of being timely with our today's meeting, I will now bring the October 3rd, 2022 meeting of the Art and Public Places Committee into session. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E and recommendation of the Health Officer of the County of Sonoma, Art and Public Places Committee members will be participating in this meeting via Zoom webinar. Members of the public can participate in the meeting by visiting the link or by dialing in. Eileen, will you let our public know any other announcements about today's meeting?
Yes, members of the public wishing to speak during item 3, public comment, or during items listed on the agenda will be able to do so by utilizing the raised hand feature in Zoom or by pressing *9 on their phone. They will then be given the ability to address the committee. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Next, I would like to do roll call.
Okay. And apologies. Member Puentes. I see a yes.
I'm here.
Oh,
Sorry
thank
about
you.
that. Here.
Member Baumgartner.
Present.
Member Sayers.
Present.
Wonderful. Chair Kiefer.
Present.
Let the record reflect that all members of the board are present with the exceptions of Vice Chair Jones Carter, Member Nathanson, and Member Asdirian. Oh, and let me amend that. Member Asdirian has just joined.
Great. Moving on to item number 3, public comments. This is the time where any person may address matters not listed on the agenda, but are within the subject matter of the jurisdiction. The public may comment on agenda items when the item is called. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes. Eileen, do we have any general public comments for today?
We do not have any written or comments or any voicemails for this meeting.
Okay. Moving on to approval of minutes, item 4. We have 2 meeting minutes to approve today. First, we have the August 1st, 2022 regular meeting of the Art and Public Places Committee. And then we also have the special meeting minutes from our meeting on September 13th, 2022. Can I get a motion to approve, or do any members have any recommendations or amendments to make?
Member
Lisa,
Puentes?
you're muted.
My apologies. I would like to make a motion to approve as submitted.
Can we get a second?
And you're muted.
Sorry, I was not there.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
All right, and then we'll move to a vote. Sorry, Member Baumgartner, which meeting were you not in attendance for?
August 1st, or the first, whatever, the first one in August.
Okay.
Okay, Eileen, a bit of housekeeping. Can we vote twice on these then?
We will need to vote twice.
Great, okay.
So for the August 1st meeting, Member Puentes,
Yes.
Member Sayers,
Yes.
Member Baumgartner, you've already indicated that you were not present and
Right.
need to abstain, and Chair Kiefer,
Yes.
and Member Asdirian.
Yes.
The meeting to approve the August 1st meeting minutes approved as submitted has passed.
Great,
And then,
thank you.
the vote for the next meeting, which is the September 13th meeting, is, I'll go ahead and take that. Member Puentes,
Aye.
Member Sayers,
Yes.
Member Asdirian,
Yes.
Member Baumgartner,
Yes.
Member Kiefer. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Chair Kiefer, apologies. Let the
Eileen,
record-
hold on a second. We need to change Member Sayers' vote to abstain since he was absent, I believe, on the 13th of
Oh,
September.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay, don't worry.
No worries. That acknowledged the meeting minutes for September 13th have been approved as submitted.
Great. Thanks for that bit of housekeeping. Moving on now to item 5, our scheduled items. First item 5.1, Art Surround. The Art in Public Places program, the Public Art program is participating as an advocate and funder for the Creative Sonoma grant program, Art Surround. Staff will present the projects located in Santa Rosa that are being supported by grants from the City of Santa Rosa, as well as present 2 projects proposed for City Hall, which are recommended for approval. I will hand over to Tara for the presentation. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. Jessica and I will be presenting today. So I'll start off and just hold on 1 minute while I share my screen and get the presentation going. Okay, is that visible to everyone?
Yes.
Great. Well, interrupt me with questions as we go through this. Don't feel like you have to wait. This is a presentation to show the committee the Art Surround projects, which are being funded by the Public Art Program, and to ask for approval for 2 of the projects, which will be cited at City Hall. This is a program, Art Surround is a program that was created by Creative Sonoma, and the Public Art Program has been participating as an advocate in the program, along with other government agencies, businesses, tourism agencies as advocates, meaning that we are either can fund projects or house or site projects on our property. I'll also shout out to Nathan as a advocate for his site, Escalar. So that is really kind of gives you a sense of the different types of advocates that have been participating in this program. So before we jump into the presentation, I just wanted to remind the committee that the funding from the Public Art Program for these Art Surround projects was allocated in last year's annual plan. We thought that this program would be up and running and we would have started working on this earlier, but such as it is, here we are in fall starting to launch it. So last year's annual plan had a line item for $50,000 towards grants for artists. And so the opportunity was presented to us to partner with Creative Sonoma on this program, Art Surround, and to be an advocate and to use that funding towards grants through this program. I'll also make a distinction that we are issuing grants to these artists to do a project that they came up with through the Art Surround program. We did not commission these pieces. So the process, the selection process, and the process by which the committee is hearing about these and taking action on them is slightly different from when the Public Art Program commissions a project. So if there's any questions about that, I'm happy to go into more detail, but I wanted to call that out as we start out. So I will start off here with a little bit of background about Art Surround and the focus on community engagement through the arts and community arts engagement as a primary goal of the Creative Sonoma program. Sorry, was there a question? No, okay. So the Art Surround goals that were generated through Creative Sonoma's kind of program development were really to focus on kind of two strategies: supporting artists and engaging businesses, and looking at how to support the kind of interface between those two things. So one of the goals was to engage businesses and public agencies that have a goal already of enhancing community livability through the arts, but bringing to specific attention how you can do that through working with artists. And then the other main goal was really to support artists with grants and training to do projects here in Sonoma County. So there were 2 different cohorts or groups for this program, an artist cohort and an advocate cohort. And they were kind of brought along parallel but separate tracks to increase community arts engagement across Sonoma County. And because this is a Creative Sonoma program, this is a countywide program. And the Public Art Program is just participating as an advocate in the way that we are funding projects in Santa Rosa, but it's countywide. There are, I think, 25 participating artists and something like 27 actual projects. There was a couple artist teams or maybe it's 27 and 20. Anyway, it's there's a couple artist teams and there's around 27 projects being funded all throughout Sonoma County. The ones that are in Santa Rosa are 7 projects in Santa Rosa. So for the advocate cohort, like I said earlier, this included staff from cities, towns, arts organizations, and businesses with a goal to engage artists to incorporate their work into public spaces. And the public art program is participating as a part of the advocate cohort as a partner and funder. This is a shot of our final day of training with the combined group of the cohorts of the artists and the advocates. Springboard for the Arts was brought in by Creative Sonoma to lead a 2.5 day, 2 days with just the artists and a half day with the artists and the advocates in-person customized training that really focused on creative placemaking and community arts engagement as a kind of a method of working in the community. Artists who completed the training were able to work on proposing a public art project and then paired with an advocate to host or pay for their project. I'll turn it over to Jessica now. Sorry, I'll turn it over to Jessica now just so she can go over the projects that are being funded by the public art program.
Thanks, Tara. Yeah, so these are the projects or the artists that the public art program has been paired with. You'll see there's 7 artists or artist teams. They're all at different places. These are the project titles where they're at. And then these start dates are somewhere a little bit aspirational at this point. We're still trying to pin down when exactly each project is going to get started. And in a few slides from now, I'm going to give a little overview of each project individually. Tara, oops. We kind of talked a little bit about this. So these first 5 are the artists or artist teams that are just being funded as a grant through the public art program. And then you'll see in the slides when we get to the last 2, the 2 that are being, that we are seeking APPC approval on are both at City Hall. So this first project here is Adam Sharon. He's proposing to do light sculptures in the courtyard of Miracle Plum. He did light sculptures for Open and Out, so they're similar to that project, and he's hoping to get started in the fall. His grant is for $7,000, and I believe Miracle Plum has agreed to keep the light sculptures up sort of at their discretion after the first couple months that they've agreed to have them there. The next project we've got is
Jessica, before moving on.
Yeah.
Sorry, could you remind everyone where Miracle Plum is?
Yeah, thanks. It's under the freeway intersection of where 3rd Street and the freeway entrance are. Does everyone know where that is? Kind of near Whistle Stop, and there's a bank there on the corner too, in Railroad Square, Santa Rosa.
Yeah, their address is on Davis Street, but they're this little tiny cute white building tucked in between the higher rise bank buildings right on Davis Street as you approach 3rd Street. Thanks.
And yeah, please jump in if you have any questions about the projects as I go along. This next project by Danny Burleson is one of the ones that's going to be at Escalade. She's doing a pretty comprehensive literary project that's going to be working around themes of ancestors, migration, belonging, and she's compiling a chapbook of of different people from Santa Rosa telling their stories, and then she's going to have them translated into the languages that those people speak at home or that their ancestors speak. She's also going to do a writing workshop around the same themes and a sort of a launch celebration at Escolar when she puts the chapbook out. And we just newly moved this one to the spring. So that one will get started next spring, and her grant amount is for $5,000. Excuse me. Kristen Troop is proposing to do a sort of large scale walking trail, and she's going to do artist renditions onto like weatherproof decals that will make up the walking trail. And each decal will feature a person from Santa Rosa history, probably some of the lesser known histories of Santa Rosa. She's doing a lot of research with the library. And each decal will have the person and then also a QR code. And that QR code will lead to an audio description of the history of that person in Santa Rosa, and also where they can find the rest of the decals to complete the walking trail. Kristen had hoped to do it this fall and winter, and we'll see if we're still on track for that. And her grant is for $10,000. This one is, you'll recognize these names: MJ Linda Lawyer, Joshua Lawyer, and Maria Quijas. They are each proposing to do one mural in Santa Rosa. This is sort of a continuation of the mural project. And they've secured one location so far, which they hope to get started on either this month or next. And the other two locations we're still tracking down the best location for that. And this grant amount is $30,000. You'll see a little asterisk there that we're using ARPA funds for that, so we could manage this one along with the rest of them at the $50,000 amount.
What building is this on?
Oh, this is just an example of their past work. So
Okay.
this is not a sketch for a new
Okay.
one.
And then the one building that they did secure, are you able to announce that or?
Yes. Oh gosh, I have it in my notes, and I can follow up with that.
Okay.
I forget where it was now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No worries. And then,
It is in Roseland though, and they all
Okay.
plan to be in Roseland.
okay, wonderful. And then, sorry, just to go back,
Yeah.
the Kristen one, that is going to be, how big are those decals, or those with the QR codes and stuff? How large are they? And they're just going to be placed on the cement or the ground? And how many different locations? And where are there, just in a certain area, or they're just going to be spread throughout Santa Rosa?
Yeah, good questions. I can't remember. I think they were either 18 or 20 inches.
Mhm.
And she's having it go kind of like downtown JC. Again, I can give you the actual location. I can follow up with that. But they're all planned for roughly like downtown JC area. And she's going to do a lot of work with people's, houses whose sidewalk they're in front of, to make sure that people are okay with that. And I think it's 12 decals make up the trail, if I'm not mistaken. And she'll go pretty in depth with each story for each one. So it's comprehensive in that way, and that she's telling a lot of detailed history of Santa Rosans of the past. So is there any question that I missed?
No, not at all. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. Okay, and this is the other one that is at Escolar. This is Nicole Jones. She's doing a project called the California Native Food Garden, where she is planting a whole garden at Escalar that will focus on indigenous food plants and medicine plants. And she in the end this will be open to the public, and she'll be sharing those plants that are grown there with her elders and her community. She's also going to do a workshop, nature sketchbook workshop, where she'll provide the participants with journals, and they'll do that kind of journaling. You'll see there's a little mock-up of a plant sign too. She's doing little burned into wood plant signs for what the plants are. And if I'm not mistaken, she's going to have them in their native language also on the plant signs. Again, this one is for the fall, and they're getting going on this ASAP because they're trying to stick to a planting schedule. And this project is the grant is for $8,600.
And where is this located? I know you said the garden at Escalar, but what's the street and area?
Yeah, good. I don't know where Escalar is located. I have yet to make it out there. I'm sure Tara or Nathan could jump in and remind us.
It's on Dennis Lane at the very northern part of Santa Rosa, the northern part of the Coffee Park neighborhood, near kind of open space.
Thank you.
And Jessica, will you have information on when the workshop is available for public to attend?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be sharing all the information with you all at the APPC about all of the projects and the dates. Everything else should also go out through Creative Sonoma, and we're going to use our Out There Santa Rosa channels to promote all of the events associated with the projects. A lot of the dates are still being pinned down at this point. Okay, and as a reminder, these last two are the two that are that staff is seeking APPC approval on. And while these all are grants, they somewhat resemble commissions in that, sorry, I got distracted by the chat.
I think that I can step in, Jessica. The difference is that because there are two projects that are being cited on city property, and for that reason, the APPC needs to give approval. This one is temporary. A couple months is what's expected for the installation. And then the second one, you'll see that's cited at City Hall is a little bit more permanent. But that's the reason that they are cited on city property. So APPC is required to approve these differently than they would just be informed of the grants that are being given out for the others.
Thank you, Tara. Okay, yeah, so this one is Barbie Watts Water for Art from Air. She's proposing to put up 3 water collecting sculptures, like dew collecting sculptures, for roughly 3 months. This is out front of City Hall, where there's already a drought tolerant sort of demo garden. And her idea is that she would like to, these are movable sculptures, and so she'd like to move them weekly and see what the optimal optimal arrangement is for dew collection, and she'll be posting about that as she goes. And this one is, she's going to get started in the spring, and this would be for $4,990.
Jessica, what's the scale on these? Size?
Yeah, they're like, I'm gonna say like roughly human size.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And they're made out of materials that she said plastic, metal, nets, and acrylics. Apparently these types of sculptures are made all over the world, and those are some of the traditional materials used for the water collection.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, and finally, we have Julian, Bellotti, and Anna Wisiarde. They are guilders, and they are proposing to do a botanical line drawing in gold on either side of the two towers that are in the center of City Hall's courtyard there. They would like to also plant a native rose garden at the base of the towers. And they would like to do a big community event where they would talk about the native rose and also hand out cuttings for it and celebrate with music and stuff. This one, they would like to get started in the spring of 2023. And this grant proposal is for $17,827. Tara, did you want to do the last two slides here?
All right, my turn again. Thanks, Jessica. So to review, the Public Art Program is participating in Creative Sonoma's countywide grant program Art Surround as an advocate and funder. The Public Art Fund is supporting 7 public art projects in Santa Rosa. We are seeking approval from the committee today for the 2 projects proposed for City Hall because they're on city property. And again, those are the ones you just saw, Barbie Watts Water collectors and the gilded rose drawing at City Hall. So our recommendation today is that the committee approve both of these projects proposed for City Hall as a part of the Art Surround program. That's the end of our presentation today. We are happy to answer any questions and go back and look at any slides if needed. So let me know what would be helpful.
Great, thank you, Tara. Just some housekeeping and for how this meeting will go. First, we will do some clarifying questions. Any questions to Tara and Jessica? Then we'll go to public comment. We'll have a motion, a discussion, and then a voting. So first up, we have clarifying questions. Anne, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I just curious, did Tara and Jessica, did the city ask for projects in this space? Did you like put that into or did the artists choose this space?
Yeah, good question. Most of the artists had some idea in mind for a variety of spaces, to be honest. One of the very unique things about this program and what's been really exciting to be a participant in offering grants rather than commissions is that we were able to essentially fund whatever the artist wanted to do. They didn't have to conform to a proposal of what we were asking them to do. So what was the common conversation that Jessica and I had once we knew which artists were essentially being assigned to us to fund because of the fact that they were in Santa Rosa? We met with the artists and some of them had a very clear idea. This is exactly what I want to do. I know exactly how I'm going to do it. And we were like, great, go for it. We love it, proceed. Others had like 5 ideas, 6 ideas, and they were trying to pare them down to what would be feasible. And they had questions about what kind of contracts we use and how much insurance they might need. And, they needed a little bit of help. These are artists participating in this program that range from people who haven't done any kind of public projects ever before to folks who maybe have wanted to, but never really got a chance, to folks who have done it a few times or regularly and feel like this is kind of their normal way of doing their art practice. So quite a range. And some of the conversations were like, okay, the artist had an idea, but they didn't really know where to put it. So Jessica and I kind of helped in that conversation by offering suggestions of city sites that we would be able to, offer up or make use of. And so I think that we did help with citing a couple of them, but to be honest, most of them completely knew what they wanted to do and where they wanted to do it.
Great, thanks. That's interesting.
Lisa, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I have a question too. Actually, Tara did answer a lot of the questions I did have. previously, but so when these artists were thinking of these ideas and stuff, the applications that they had were reviewed by both Creative Sonoma and you and Jessica.
Yeah, correct. So again, this is a unique program that we haven't really done something quite like this before, because usually when we do a program or a project that we issue a call for artists for, it's a very set process of doing a call for artists, setting up a selection process, all the kind of things that you've participated in that you've seen. This is very much outside of that process. So the only application process that existed is when the artist first applied to be a part of the artist cohort as a part of the Art Surround program. And there was very kind of general criteria to participate. One, you had to be a Sonoma County artist. And, you know, I think that it was encouraged. Oh, and you had to agree to do the Springboard for the Arts training. So you had to agree to participate in the training in person for 3 days, 2.5 days. And then it was encouraged through that training and through the rest of the process to not come in with preset ideas on what your project should be. The focus of the training was about how to collaborate, how to develop ideas with community and with an advocate or with someone who is either offering a site to you or is funding your project. And so some of the artists still had an idea and they kind of carried it through the training and to the end of the process. Others had an idea and then completely let that go and changed their idea after receiving the training. And some didn't have an idea at all coming in and just really they were open to developing ideas within the process of the cohort. So once the training was complete, the artist had, I think it was about a 2-month period, about 8 weeks to develop a proposal. But it was a back and forth. It was like, okay, well, who's your advocate? How do we decide what site considerations there might be, knowing that if you're going to be paired with an advocate, you might need to know something from that person or that agency before you start developing your proposal. So essentially, Creative Sonoma went through a matchmaking process first to pair artists with sites and funders. So, and really, it was really more of a matchmaking related to a site. And then the funding came either from Creative Sonoma or Sonoma County Tourism was another funder, the Chamber of Commerce was a funder, and then the City of Santa Rosa Public Art Program was a funder. So once that matchmaking was complete, Creative Sonoma essentially let us know who we were paired with. And then we started having those meetings with artists to help the process of their proposal being developed.
Got it. That answers a lot of questions. I have one more, and it's regarding the Santa Rosa, the rose, the native rose. I don't recall anything ever being painted on any of the walls in the city hall. Has there been ever?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Not since I've been here. Yeah.
I'm really trying to visualize that because, you know, I've been there, I've stared at it, and the walls can be pretty drab, but it's not flat surface, completely flat surface. There is some texture there. So I'm trying to visualize it. And if anyone can help me out here and, you know, bring some light, you know, I haven't been there for a while, so would be appreciated.
Well, I think that the thing that the artists offered up in their kind of conversation about their planning process was that firstly, it's not actually paint, it's gold leaf essentially. And so not that changes exactly what you're asking, because I think they're probably similar questions or considerations about how you apply that material to a variety of surfaces, such as like very porous cement in this case. But it's also like a ridged finish, right? It's got grooves. And so they took that into consideration. I think they have a plan to present it with that in mind and to make sure that the image reads well. They are considering putting a shadow behind, so painting a shadow of the gilded surface, of the gilded line drawing, to help reinforce what the image is. So that is one of their considerations. I think they're leaning towards that the last time we talked to them. But that's exactly the type of thing they are trying to make sure they're addressing so that the image reads correctly.
I would add to that a couple other things. One thing that they're really interested in doing this project is that those towers peek over the building of City Hall, so you can actually see it from Santa Rosa Avenue. And that was appealing to them because they can sort of like, it's like this little, it enlivens City Hall for many passerby. And then the other thing that I wanted to add is that the material is gold leaf, which is traditionally used outside, like on domes and signage and stuff. So it's actually meant to be outside and to weather really beautifully over time.
Okay. And how long is it supposed to last?
That one's pretty permanent.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But it will definitely give character to City Hall, that character that it once hasn't had.
Yeah. And
Okay.
This is just my personal opinion, but I think it's a bit elegant too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Tyler.
So Lisa, context for location, I believe looking at the photos, these are the two towers that you see when you are like in that courtyard right below where the council chambers are. So if you walk up the stairs to the council chambers, you're looking at the towers on the side. Is that correct?
Sorry. Yeah, generally, I mean, they, like Jessica said, they do extend. They're the tallest part of City Hall. So you really can see the tops of these towers, for lack of a better word, from the parking lot, from D Street, from Sonoma Avenue, from Santa Rosa Avenue, all the surrounding surface streets, they are visible. But yes, if you were in the center of City Hall in the middle of the courtyard, below the stairs that go up to the council chambers, you would be right next to them, and you would be right next to the planting area where they will be planting the actual plants of the native roses.
So my questions were answered, but thank you.
Tara, could you let our group know a little bit more about when ARPA funds are being used for the murals in Roseland? How that process is a little different.
Yeah, we came across the opportunity to kind of leverage another source of funding to be able to fund fully all the projects that were assigned to us or paired with us. The projects in Roseland are also fitting under the use of the ARPA funds that were assigned to economic development to develop a small business support program. And we are in the middle of preparing to launch an application for small businesses to apply for a facade improvement grant that can be used towards facade improvements on their business. It can also be used to fund creative elements of permanent parklets and to offset the first year design costs of permanent parklets. And then a kind of sister element to the funding for the facade improvements is to pair businesses who want to have a mural on their building with an artist who will create a mural for that site. And so because that is a part of that program already, we were able to essentially have a separate funding source for this one project within the Art Surround program. So it's still part of the Art Surround program. It's still, those artists still all participated in the training. They're part of the artist cohort. They're still receiving support from the city of Santa Rosa to do the project. We're just lucky that we have another source of funding to help supplement what the public art program has for this project.
Great, thank you. That helps paint a picture of how these funds can be flexible and to allow multiple types of projects, and whether it's a facade improvement or fitting in under the Art Surround grant program. That gives our team a bit of flexibility. So great. Lisa, did you have
Sorry.
another question?
Yeah, I have another question. I'm sorry. So I know it's the $50,000 from the previous year that we had set aside, or we've allocated for this. But the additional funds that you're saying that you're applying, have those been secured? And they've been secured, and that was an additional, what was that, like 26,000 or?
The
something like
additional,
25?
yeah, the
Yeah.
additional funds that are being allocated to MJ, Joshua, and Mario's murals in Roseland. It's $30,000, which is coming from the ARPA funds.
Okay, so all of
Mhm.
the funding for theirs is coming from that?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
then that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was wondering why it wasn't okay. It wasn't adding up.
Yeah. Well, and I believe that if you actually did the math, you would see that all the other projects are they all equal a little bit over $50,000, but that's because they include contingencies, and we don't expect all of the projects to use their contingencies. And so we're being hopeful that
Okay.
will come in on budget.
Okay.
If no one uses their contingencies, we're just under 50,000 by like $50 or something.
Okay.
Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, everybody. I was a few minutes late, but for some reason couldn't be elevated to a panelist. So I'm glad to actually be here. Tara, I might have missed a detail on this. Forgive me if I did, but can you talk a little bit more about the facade improvement project, which I know is separate from Art Surround, but sort of parallel, and just and you and I talked the other day about a wall that we identified that I'd love to see something happen on. So just maybe a little bit more about that program, please.
Yeah, I want to be careful of not violating the Brown Act by talking about something that's not on the agenda. So I would love to bring back a full presentation on what we're planning. It's not launched yet. So where we're at is just, we've been gathering information. We've done a lot of research. We've surveyed businesses in the eligibility areas that we've identified to see what would be most helpful. And we'll be launching the program really soon, but I'd rather not go into more detail today, just to make sure we have the item agendized.
Got it. Thank you.
One other small detail that I just wanted to mention in case no one's asked, but in case anyone has any concerns, Nathan is Escalar. It's his site, right? It's his kind of creative space with the art studio, gardens, and everything else that's there on the property. He's participating as an advocate in Art Surround, but not a funder or not receiving funds. So while he's offering his site to the artists who have been paired with him, there's not a conflict of interest with him participating in today's vote because he's not receiving any funds. Just want to make sure that's clear.
Thanks. I was curious.
I know, I'm sure you were the one that would ask, right?
Thanks. These were some great questions so far. Would like to move to public comment. Eileen, have you received any public comments for this item?
We have no public comment and there are no hands raised at this time.
Okay, going forward, I would like to see if anyone would like to put a motion on the table. We can start with the recommended motion and go from there, but would like to open that up before we move on to any discussion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the recommended projects for the city of Santa Rosa and fund those as put out to us today. Is that
Second.
Just to clarify, Anne, I think the motion needs to include the language that
Oh.
You are approving the 2 projects on City Hall property.
Okay, great. I meant that.
Yes.
So good. So yes, should I
Thank you.
restate that, or is just you saying that? Does that
I
make?
think we got it, as long as Eileen's okay with that.
Yes. Yes, we're fine. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Thank you.
Great. And then Jeff, did you second that?
Yes, I second the motion.
Great. Thank you. Now we can move to a discussion. So is everyone clear on the differentiation between fund allocation for the Arts Around Grant Program and then the need to approve these 2 projects on City Hall property, as is the purview of APPC?
Yes.
Sounds like everyone's okay. Took me a minute of talking through to understand, but I'm very excited to see a more flexible opportunity being presented before us today, as a way to kind of kickstart more art projects in our community. And really neat that Creative Sonoma has created this opportunity for artists and advocates to join together in many different forms, whether they are funders or, like Nathan, providing a location for artwork to be experienced. So I was very happy to see this brought to our committee today. Thank you, staff, for doing the work.
Thanks, Kristen. I also want to just make sure that you all, if you haven't looked at it yet, take a look, if you're interested, at the press release that Jessica forwarded to you from Creative Sonoma, because it outlines all of the projects throughout Sonoma County, and talks a little bit more about the overall goals and the process and kind of the farther reaching aspects of the program, rather than just what we are concerned with, which is within the city of Santa Rosa. So it's got some great additional information in there and project descriptions.
Well, I think these are great launching points or great locations for this round of activity. This program that Creative Sonoma has put together. I hope that these projects really enliven our community and provide opportunities for different thought about what is achievable in non-traditional spaces, or spaces where it hadn't been thought about before for public art. So I'm very pleased to see this happening. Does anyone else have any comments before we vote?
Mine was for the water catchment, and that to work, basically, that is a fog is required, correct?
Sorry, did you say a bog?
Fog.
Fog. I think, part of her art project is experimenting and seeing just what we can get. It might not be like as much water as we hope for, but my understanding is that there is more moisture in the air than we know about, and hopefully these sculptures will back that up.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes I think in what she kind of researched and what she's interested in collecting data on is kind of the changes in temperature that happen overnight versus during the day that can cause condensation, and that these materials in the shapes, various shapes that are used in different parts of the world actually can kind of facilitate water generation from condensation. So I am not a scientist. I may have totally just gotten that all wrong, but that's what my understanding is from how she talked to us about it and what she was interested in experimenting with. So
Okay, great. Thank you.
And in this proposal from Barbie, she notes that she will be visiting or will be relocating these elements possibly weekly, or But I guess my question is, does she expect that she'll be checking on them daily, or will they be catching rainwater in, or sorry, will they be catching dew in the designs themselves? Is that part of the, I'm just very curious to see how this works. So
yeah, so they won't really be relocated. Their positions will just be changed on the pole that they're on. And so she is planning on having, like, have you ever seen those rainwater catchments that show you how much? So one of those, something like that will be underneath. And I think she is checking daily, but posting weekly.
it's very neat. Great. Okay, well, if there are no more comments or discussion items, I would like to move to a vote. Eileen, can you coordinate a roll call vote?
Absolutely. Member Sayers,
Yes.
Member Puentes,
Aye.
Member Nathanson,
Aye.
Member Baumgartner,
Yes.
Member Asdarian,
Aye.
Chair Kiefer.
Aye.
Let the record reflect that the motion has passed.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Great. I'm excited to see these projects enliven our community. Next, we have item 5.2, program and project overview. Staff will present updates on current projects. I will hand it over to Tara and Jessica. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll just do our project updates and program updates on things that have been ongoing or in the works. So Jessica, if you want to get started with your list, and then I'll chime in after you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we've got Unum, and Tara and I are continuing to work with the artist and the fabricator to accommodate the ADA requirements for the base of the sculpture. And we're still, the timeline is still hopeful for the end of the year. For our rotating exhibits, we've got 2 new exhibits up. They just went up this last week at the Finley Center and the Person Senior Wing. They are both free and open to the public, and they're going to be on view through the end of November. At the Finley Center, we've got the Artist Workshop of Sonoma County, and that's over 40 different artists, professional artists. And at the Person Senior Wing, we have the Pomo Project, which is featuring mostly Pomo artists. And they're actually having a reception this Thursday. You're all welcome to come. It's going to be from 5 to 7, again, at the Person Senior Wing. Tara and I have also been working on the citywide art audit. We're at the beginning stages, and we're working with other city departments, and we're beginning to meet with the APPC task forces individually. Once we've met with all the task forces and we're a little farther along, we'll present that at an upcoming meeting. Also, Tara and I have been invited to present at an upcoming career day for Roseland College Prep. And we're going to go for it. We're very excited to talk to the teenagers about careers in the art field. And lastly, the public art program is participating in the Bay Area Urban Manufacturing Week, which is put on by SF Made. That's next week. So we have coordinated with some artists to highlight artists as manufacturers. So we coordinated 2 tours and demos with Santa Rosa artists, and I'll send a follow-up. I'll send a follow-up to all of our project updates with a recap of everything, and that will include links to those Bay Area Manufacturing Week demos. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Jessica. I'll add on our update on conservation and maintenance. The Peanuts bronze in Depot Park of Snoopy and Charlie Brown has been fully cleaned and treated, and the fence surrounding it repainted. That's been needed for quite some time. The Schultz Family Foundation had been taking care of the bronzes that are a part of our collection. And this year we have transitioned over to having our conservators do the work, but the Schultz Family Foundation is still contributing to the cost of maintaining them. So the other two pieces, the Marcy bench on 4th Street near the library and the Lucy and Schroeder piece in the fountain at Finley, will be treated soon as well as part of our comprehensive plan for all those pieces. Recently, Wellspring in Coffee Park was also repaired. It was a little bit unexpected to need repairs so soon. It's a relatively new piece, but it turns out that one of the filler materials used in the seating elements was faulty and didn't hold up as expected. So the fabricator came on site for 3 days, did all of the cleaning and repairs, and replaced the filler with a stronger material. The artist also came on site and did a repair of the mosaic on the cement pad, which was missing a few pieces, tile pieces. So it's should be looking great now. That was completed back in August. The Asawa Art Panels, I also will mention that while it's still slow going with getting the engineering and design drawings finalized, they are due to be given to the fountain contractor as soon as possible. We're hoping within the next couple of weeks so that the fountain proposal can move forward with getting its permitting through the city and constructed. And then we'll move forward with the Artworks Foundry process of casting the panels into bronze. No new updates on the artist and the general plan project, although we're still moving forward with it, but nothing new to report there. And I believe that's it for today, but happy to, both Jessica and I can answer any questions about all of those updates.
Tara, I had a question about the Asawa fountain. So you said
I'm assuming she's going to come back. Did she freeze for everyone else too?
contractor will
She
get the
did.
panels.
Hi, sorry, you froze for a second. Please ask your question again. I didn't get it.
Oh, thanks. Sorry, I was wondering if you could give just rewind on your recap on the Asawa fountain.
Okay,
My
yeah.
internet connection is unstable, so
Oh,
thank you.
got it. Okay, no worries. I just stated that it's slow going, getting the final engineering and design drawings completed. But we are working on them with Artworks Foundry and with their engineer, and they will be provided to the fountain contractor as soon as possible so that they can proceed with getting the review and approval from the city to start construction.
Thank you. Did anyone else have any questions about our updates for our projects and programs? Seeing none, thank you guys for giving us an update. Move on to item 6, our committee member reports. Item 6.1, ad hoc task force reports and discussion. First off, we have diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. Do we have an update from that group?
At this time, Anne or I do not have an update, unless you want to speak for you, Anne.
Yeah, we're coming back in here. Yeah. So we have not been coordinating together, so we're going to get together and come up
Absolutely.
with a plan.
No shame. No one needs to feel bad. It's okay. It's okay.
No, we
and
did talk today.
you can say that you did a little bit of work because you were able to attend the presentation by Kimson Creative
Yes.
back in
Oh, right.
September, and that was work towards the work your task
Diversity,
force
yes,
is working
I am,
on. So
yes.
hey, you got one thing.
Okay, good. Yes, I got my badge from that. Yes.
We did do that.
I love it. Yeah, that was great. Yes, it's wonderful. So I'm going to be missing the next one that's coming up. Is that set in stone, or is this a place I can ask that? Which is because it's diversity training that we're all going through?
Yeah, so the next one is scheduled for October 13th at noon, I believe. And I think that, I know you had said you couldn't attend, and I think it was very problematic to look for another date given all the schedules they're trying to coordinate. So it will be recorded. You can watch it. Unfortunately, you won't be able to participate in live, but it will be recorded.
Okay. Is there a series of those? I wasn't quite sure on the whole scope of it. Maybe it was brought up in the August meeting I missed.
Yeah, there will be a series of 4. So this will be the second one out of 4. And then in addition to those workshops they're doing for the entire committee, there will also be mentoring sessions with Nico's team with the task forces. So that will be, we set them up directly for engagement task force and the DEIA task force. And what I'd like to suggest is that the project development task force members join whichever one they want so that you can receive that training as well.
Okay. Very good. The dates just didn't come to me ahead of time. So I did not ever have that second date on, and I don't have the later dates. So if those have been scheduled, could we get those?
Nothing else has been scheduled except October 13th.
Okay, perfect then. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry, was that October 13th, you said?
Yeah, I'll have Kevin Becerra send out a reminder and make sure that we can still get the majority of our group to be there. Because I know that schedules get crazy as we go along. And if it's not like already on your calendar, then I'll have him check in with everyone.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Okay, next, is there an update or discussion from the Community Engagement Task Force?
Yeah, just briefly, we helped to coordinate the dedication event for the 5th Street mural on the parking garage. And it was well attended and really just felt great to be out there with dedication, refreshments, and the pop-up with the logo. That was all great. So I really was glad that we were able to participate and do that. And thank you to staff and everybody who pitched in. Really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks. I'll speak for project development. We got a little preview of the citywide art audit map, and believe that was a great conversation with Jessica and Tara, and looking forward to more conversation with the other task forces, and then our group as larger conversation with our group. Thank you. My update for project development. We're excited to see that. Next, going to item 7, we have department reports. Oh, sorry, Jeff.
I have to add one thing. I really want to add to my report on community engagement. I have to credit Melanie because I did very little and she did all the work. And she's not here, so I will sing her praises in her absence.
Great. Thanks, Melanie. Okay, moving on to item 7, department reports. This is time reserved for city staff to provide a briefing on issues of interest. No action will be taken on these matters except to possibly place on a future agenda for consideration.
I don't believe I have anything to add today under department reports. At some point, I will bring back a presentation on our progress with Out There Santa Rosa, but don't have that prepared for today. So none for me, thanks.
Me neither today. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys. Item 8, future agenda items. time reserved for discussion about whether to place matters on a future agenda for possible action. Do we have any other conversation items? Jeff, I know you brought something up that we'll have to schedule for another time, but
We can go ahead and add that to the list for sure.
Great.
We can put down facade improvement grants and out there Santa Rosa update. And we can plan on doing that at the next meeting if the agenda allows.
great, thank you. All right, next I'll move to adjournment. Thanks for everyone participating in today's meeting. Our next regular meeting will be on Monday, November 7th. And we will look forward to email from Nico about October 13th training. So any other announcements, we will look to our emails.
Great, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.